You always wanted to fix people, not just patch them up, really fix them. So you poured your 20s into medical school, survived residency, and specialized in the kidneys. Those two bean-shaped superheroes that quietly filter your blood, balance fluids, and keep you from turning into a toxic waste dump. Congratulations. You're now a kidney surgeon. And let me tell you, it sucks. It's 6 a.m. You're scrubbing in for your first solo case. A guy in his 50s with end-stage renal disease from years of uncontrolled diabetes. His kidneys? Basically shriveled prunes that gave up years ago. You spend 6 hours meticulously sewing a new donor kidney into his pelvis, anastomosing tiny vessels while praying the anastomosis doesn't leak. One slip and you're dealing with massive bleeding or a clot that kills the graft before the patient even wakes up. Success rate for kidney transplants hovers around 95% at 1 year for living donors. Impressive, right? Until you remember the 5% where everything goes wrong. And those are the nights that haunt you. But the real suck starts long before the OR. You spend your days bouncing between the clinic, hospital rounds, and dialysis units. Half your patients have chronic kidney disease, CKD, the silent epidemic. Caused mostly by diabetes and high blood pressure, it creeps up for years with zero symptoms. By the time they show up with fatigue, swollen ankles, foamy urine, or that metallic taste in their mouth, their glomerular filtration rate is tanking. You explain that their kidneys are scarred and losing the ability to filter waste. They nod politely, then ask if they can still eat bacon. You try to be the hero who slows it down. You preach prevention like a broken record. Control your blood sugar. Keep blood pressure under 130/80. Stay hydrated. Eat less processed junk and salt. Exercise. Get screened early with simple blood and urine tests if you have diabetes, hypertension, obesity, or family history. Catch it in stages 1 to 3, and you can actually protect those nephrons. But so many patients ignore it until stage 4 or 5, when dialysis or transplant becomes inevitable. Then there's polycystic kidney disease, PKD, the genetic gut punch. Clusters of fluid-filled cysts balloon inside the kidneys, turning them into lumpy sacs the size of footballs. Patients get flank pain, high blood pressure, recurrent infections, and kidney stones as bonuses. Half will hit kidney failure by age 60. You watch families where multiple generations carry the gene, knowing there's no cure, only management, and, eventually, your scalpel when it's time for transplant. You remove massively enlarged polycystic kidneys, sometimes just to make space for the new one. It's like deflating sad, overinflated balloons filled with regret. Kidney stones? Oh, those are the crowd favorites for midnight emergency calls. A 2 mm crystal feels like passing a cheese grater. You're yanking out stones with lasers or baskets while the patient screams. And don't get started on acute kidney injury. Sudden shutdown from infection, dehydration, meds, or trauma. One bad weekend of partying or a nasty infection, and boom, temporary dialysis. The emotional whiplash is brutal. You give someone a new kidney from a living donor, a spouse, sibling, or altruistic stranger, and for a while life is beautiful. They pee normally again. Energy returns. They cry tears of joy and recovery. You feel like a god. Then reality hits. Rejection. Infection from all those immunosuppressants, ureteral leaks or strictures that need reoperation, lymphocytes collecting fluid, vascular thrombosis that dooms the graft. Surgical complication rates hover between 5 to 25% depending on the study, bleeding, clots, wound issues. You lie awake wondering if that extra hour in the OR could have changed everything. And the patients who don't get a transplant? They live on dialysis, 3 times a week, 4 hours at a time, hooked to a machine that does what their kidneys can't. You visit the units, adjust meds, fight anemia and bone disease, and that crushing fatigue. Many feel like prisoners to the schedule. You become their lifelong companion, managing comorbidities, watching their quality of life erode, delivering bad news when the numbers worsen. You work 50 to 60 plus hours a week easy. Clinic in the morning or in the afternoon, Hospital rounds, dialysis rounds, endless charting in the EHR that sucks your soul. Nights and weekends on call for emergencies, acute kidney failure in the ICU, crashing transplant patients. Burnout is real in nephrology and urology. The administrative load, the emotional toll of chronic illness, the frustration when patients don't follow prevention advice. It grinds you down. You pour years into training, carry massive student debt, and watch some specialties with better hours and pay pull ahead. Yet you stay because when it works, it really works. A successful transplant can add decades of quality life. You're literally giving someone a second chance at normalcy. But the dark humor of the job? You become weirdly obsessed with urine output. How much are you peeing? Becomes your version of small talk. You know way too much about everyone's electrolytes, and you've seen enough foamy urine to last 10 lifetimes. In the end, being a kidney surgeon means living in the gray zone. You fight diseases that are often preventable, manage diabetes and hypertension aggressively, maintain healthy weight, avoid smoking, stay hydrated, eat kidney-friendly, low sodium, balanced protein, get regular checkups. Yet so much damage is already done by the time they reach you. You save lives, but you also become the bearer of hard truths. Your kidneys are failing. We can slow it, but we can't always stop it. You celebrate the transplants that thrive for 10 to 15 plus years and mourn the ones that don't. So yeah, you chose this path thinking you'd be the hero with the magic scalpel. Instead, you're the tireless guardian of two tiny organs that everyone takes for granted until they don't. And on the hardest days when you're scrubbing out at 2 a.m. after another complicated case, you wonder, was it worth it? Deep down, you know the answer is yes. But damn, it still sucks. If you're watching this and your kidneys are still working, take the prevention seriously. Control the blood pressure, manage the diabetes, drink water, move your body, get checked. Don't wait until you need someone like me, because being the kidney surgeon who has to tell you it's too late, that's the part that sucks the most.